gotta go. I'm going on a quest.
Hey, how are ya?
Hello, Canada.
You like the dunk tank?
Walk over glass. Hey, rep, kiss my
We messed up. Things got out of hand. Drake's is in bad shape.
Don't take my gold away.
You wearing your rubber boots tonight?
Hey kids, thank you for being here. I have no time to listen to podcasts, so we appreciate your time in listening to this one. That's why we give you a choice. If you only want to listen to the interview today, it's Biz Nasty. Trust me, you want to hear it. It starts about 36 minutes in, but we have a lot of fun before that as well. This is a pretty clean podcast, but with Biz here today, there's a little bit of language and some definite mature themed stories. Hilarious ones, but mature themes. So if the kids are listening, I don't know, put on a Pixar movie for them, please. Lester, hit it.
This is JD's podcast. JD's Rubber Boot Podcast. He's gonna sit and relax and tell you all sorts of stories. He's gonna tell you all about life and sports, and probably will play some games. And if nothing else, you know we're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast.
Episode 6 of JD's Rubber Boots podcast. The most successful podcast over the last couple of years was Serial, which was a real-life murder mystery. So I thought to boost listenership, we will build some drama up early. And today begin with the very real question, is Puffy dead? If you don't know what I'm referring to, here's the legend, Rod Smith, with the Episode 5 recap.
On Episode 5, Puffy's sickness did the impossible. It made him sound sexy.
Would you like to come over? A glass of wine? Maybe a dart?
Shortly after the podcast, Puffy died. Meanwhile, Duthie revealed that he was a complete tool when he met Geddy Lee at the Goon 2 premiere.
And he goes, hey, nice job in the movie. And I go, hey, nice job on Rush.
That's a good line.
Later, the boys giggled like little babies, listening to O-Dog's Trade Center Burger Lust.
Is there ketchup on that? He's so earnest.
And Sean William Scott, a.k.a. Stifler, tried to convince Duthie to take up acting full-time.
You crushed it.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
You know you're fucking funny in
It's
it, right?
Pretending he loves Duthie's acting is the single greatest performance of Sean William Scott's career. That's all for this week. Now back to Sports Desk with Bob Pronick and Sunil Joshi.
Bob Pronick and Sunil Joshi.
Underrated pair.
Sports Desk legends. I guess we've answered the mystery right away. Is Puffy dead? No.
Nope, just a 2-week cold.
Listen to you. You sound fantastic again.
Yeah, I still got a little bit of the deep pipes, but...
All right, we're going to get to that in a second. Lester's back. How you doing, Lester?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Christoph is back on the board. Pronick and Sunil Joshi. We want to have some little inside jokes that we do every week on the podcast. Bob Pronick did Sports Desk for about a year, so very, very nice man.
Very nice.
Probably would be the first to admit I don't think he loved doing sports.
No,
desk.
he did not.
Sunil, on the other hand, who everybody knows him in Toronto, he did sports forever. He is a pimp. So I did in my early year doing Sports Desk, I did a few shows with Sunil. And I would come in for the 11 o'clock Sports Desk. I would come in at 6 p.m., nervous, get ready, get my suit on, and write all my stuff. So I had tons of time. Sunil would come in at 20 to 11 wearing a tracksuit.
I don't know for the tracksuit, definitely track pants.
He would sit down at the computer and he'd be done writing in 4 minutes and he'd do the show. So
and nail it.
I've never seen someone care less about the show. No, I shouldn't say that. He had no anxiety whatsoever. So Sunil was a pimp. Shout out to Sunil. Wow. So Puffy is not dead, and we thought we'd do a little ode. If you missed episode 5, Puffy seemed like he was on his deathbed, and Lester put down he had a very Barry White thing going on with a little scratchy sexiness, and so Lester put down a tune, and Christoph put together some of Puffy's words, and we think this might be a hit single. Here we go. Puffy is here playing Hurt. Hello, Puffy.
Sexy Puffy.
How's it going?
Sexy Puffy.
If you could be any character in a movie, but it's real life, and you would have to be that person. You'd feel their pain and joy. Which character would you be?
Sexy Puffy.
This is day 6. Did Cheryl get her picture with anyone? The problem with Carrie, he's a very nice man.
Yeah, I know. It goes against it.
Sexy
I can't tell this story because my throat's going to die.
Puffy.
No, the game 7 of Leafs Bruins.
Sexy Puffy.
Did anyone offer you cocaine?
That's from Sexy Puffy's new album, Real Life, which has just dropped.
I think it would be named Cocaine.
That was very hot, so that'll be rising up the charts. What else did we want to talk about on episode 6 of the podcast? Oh, I thought what we would talk about is all of your reactions to Goon 2, which I'm sure, as it opened last Friday, you guys were first in line to support the man who's put you on the podcast. So what were your impressions of Goon 2, everybody?
Well, limited engagement right now, so I'm waiting for a little wider
It's
release.
at like 20 theaters in Toronto. Lester?
I'm sorry, man. I didn't get to it. I'm sorry.
Christoph?
I was celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
I got to rewatch the first one, so I'm in line.
This is unbelievable.
I heard you were very good, though.
Yeah, thank you, Puffy. We've already established that all your compliments are pure BS, but that's what you're paid to do. So Goon 2 got some pretty good reviews around the board. I didn't get trashed too bad, so I'm fairly happy with that. We guess we can't talk about that. I can talk about my vacation. We missed first time we'd had a week off from the Rubber Boots podcast last week because I was lounging in Turks and Caicos.
I've never been. How is it there? I'm looking to go somewhere.
It is. Oh, it's unbelievable. It's a little pricey, but it's very good. I ate a conch penis while I was there.
Is that exactly what it sounds like it is?
No, it is. Yes. So a conch, you know what
That's
a conch shell is.
You blow into, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
It's like
Yes,
for
you
the
blow
sound. Yeah, like that.
That's
Exactly.
that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
you don't
yes.
blow into the penis. You
Where?
blow into the shell after the conch has left the shell.
Oh.
So those big shells that everybody brings home, like
Yes, you're not allowed to bring those home. Those are illegal. It's illegal to bring
We
them
brought
home.
one home.
Oh.
My wife had to bring one home for her hairdresser or something, so I had to pack it. And you know how hard it is not to break a conch on the way home?
You guys are lucky you're not doing time and
You can bring home conches.
It's illegal.
I know you're not supposed to bring home pieces of the reef or something, but you can bring home conches. So anyway, I guess I should have known this, but there is a live creature inside the conch shell.
When you brought it home?
No, you idiot!
At some point.
In the ocean.
Oh, okay.
You're not supposed to bring home livestock either.
Yeah,
So
definitely not.
So we went to this place called the Conch Shack, which is owned by a Canadian named John McDonald, a buddy of mine. Noodles was married on his beach.
Wow.
And he owns this really cool place, and they sell conches. Actually delicious. It's kind of like a fishy type thing. You cook it up, and it's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a guy there on the beach taking the conches out, and he pulls, and it's a little squiddy type creature that comes out, but it has penis. And so he said, "Does anybody want to eat the conch penis?"
Was this a dare or
Now,
something?
who were you with
Because
when you were asked this question?
My children.
Yes.
Did any of them volunteer to eat the?
No, they're little girls. They
I
were
could see you
grossed
eating the
out and
penis
everything.
instead of.
Did,
It's just
and
a
why would
thin-
you have eaten it
It's
then?
a thin little penis, like, and I don't even know, I never even got to ask if it functions like a normal penis, like the conch. I don't know how you would make love as a conch with the kind of stuff, the pointy stuff on the shells. But anyway, it was rather tasty. It was solid protein. And you wolf it down like a shot, and there's all these other drunken tourists around, and they're all going, drink the conch cock, drink the conch cock. It's kind of a Lord of the Flies type of scenario. So anyway, that was tasty. That's the biggest thing that happened probably on my vacation. I saw some little sharks, some baby sharks.
Well, did you see any larger sharks?
No, but the last time I went to Turks back in about 3 months ago.
Well, you obviously you were due for a return.
I know, it's a hard life. So I like to do quarterly vacations.
Why not?
So
You can't go for it.
the last time I was in Turks, Puff, I was in about waist deep water. And Turks, by the way, is the most beautiful beach and water on the planet, if you ask me. So I see this thing coming towards me, and you can see pretty clearly from maybe 30 yards away. And there's one dolphin in Turks and Caicos named Jojo. So everybody's always, hey, Jojo the dolphin. Like, there's literally one dolphin for the island that's been there for 30 years. So I'm like, hey, it's Jojo. And it keeps coming closer to me, and I'm like, Jojo! And then I go, that's not Jojo. And I saw, like, the fin thing, not out of the water, but under the water. Yeah, there you go.
So my Jaws moment. So I kind of just leapt out of the way like this, and I was like, "Whoa!" And this thing just went straight on by me. Wow. So I ran to shore. I was a little panicked, I got to admit.
Water?
And there was two local guys from the island who were putting a sailboat in the water. And I said, you could still see the shark. And I said, "What is that?" And I'll do a terrible Caribbean accent, but they're, "Reef shark, man! Oh, that's a big one, 7-footer." So, but then in retrospect, I was happy that I had not been attacked. But then I thought, wouldn't it have been better if it kind of just nicked me, and maybe I had
like a flesh wound?
Yeah, and I had maybe one stitch, so I could then say forever that I survived the shark attack. Because
that's true.
How good would that be? Yeah, I know. I had a shark attack in 2016, which I survived from.
Did you quickly Google reef shark and
apparently
kills?
They want nothing to do with you. Reef sharks, sand sharks down there. They will.
They always say that about sharks, but they're the silent
I
killer.
that reef shark, man. You got bitten of a reef shark. A reef shark don't bite anybody. It's all right, man.
You see, you're much better at it than me.
Well, part of my culture, brother.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Now, did you do any paddle boarding? It's big down there, I heard.
Yeah, I did. I went paddle boarding in the. Oh, yeah. So we should have a segment. Can you do a segment called "How Dumb Is Duthie" or something like that? Can you just do like a song? How dumb is Duthie?
How dumb is Duthie? How dumb is Duthie?
Okay, that's good. So.
You're all week.
When we were looking for something to do, because I had two daughters and their friends, and they said, somebody said, "Oh, you should go paddleboarding in the mango groves." That's what I thought they said, and so we signed up for that. And we got this tour from this very hunky. And this was a good-looking man. I'm sorry, like my wife would have on the spot left me. He was one of these English guys, and he was our tour guide, and he took us through. And I said at one point, "Where are the mangoes?" And he said, "What are you talking about, lad?" Oh, that's not a good accent either. They're called mangroves. There's no mangoes in them. Mangroves are these kind of weedy, bushy things that grow out in the ocean, and there were no mangroves.
Are they tasty, though?
The mangroves?
Could you eat?
I did not eat a mangrove penis.
I don't know what's going on here. Wow.
Okay, so that's vacation news.
One question for you. I did see a picture of you in the water, and you were wearing a T-shirt. Can you please explain yourself? Because that is not acceptable.
First of all, it was a water shirt, which
Still not acceptable.
surfers wear, everybody wears.
I did not see a board in the picture.
It was a Billabong shirt, by the way. They lost my luggage. I didn't tell you guys that. The best thing, if you lose your luggage, though, and here's something you should know, check your credit card. I have a Visa card, which gives you lost luggage insurance. So if you lose your luggage, but only lose it you have to lose it for 4 hours. So they lost my luggage, and you get $500 to go shopping.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I went to the Billabong store, and I bought like a couple pair of shorts, a couple of nice T-shirts, a nice dress shirt, everything I needed to get me through. 24 hours later, my luggage is there. Boom. I got all my clothes and $500 shopping spree.
That's great.
So you could just probably pay off somebody to hold your luggage
Sounds like
for
a
an
nice
extra
little. I was
day.
gonna say, it sounds like a nice
I
little
can see
scam.
the wheels turning, and Puffy will do that next time. So that's what you do. You bring enough clothes for like an extra day, hope you lose your luggage for a day.
Did you know about this insurance, or did it
I
just
did,
happen?
because it happened with us in St. Lucia, where the entire family's luggage got lost a few years ago.
Honestly,
thank you, Sunwing.
That's a big.
They will not be sponsoring the podcast.
That's a big problem. Listen, theft and all that stuff's a big problem.
Yeah,
so.
I know. So anyway, so that's how I found out about Puffy, and that's a good little scam to do. But I actually needed the clothes for 24 hours. Where was I going?
You were going with a T-shirt, and you were wearing it in the water.
So here, Puffy, I decide I'm on this beautiful beach, my favorite beach in Turks. I decide to do an Instagram post, and at this point, I do not have a shirt on. But I do not want to be one of those guys who, does the post where, hey, look at me, I've been working out. So I put on the shirt to take the picture and then send it out. And what happens? I get nothing but, hey, T-shirt boy, loser T-shirt boy on Instagram.
So isn't that worse than if people were just saying,
well, in retrospect, it was,
jacked.
but I didn't want to be the guy. Look, I'm going to show you. Look at that's a pretty jacked shot. That's one I could have sent out.
See, that's a great pick.
Your back is spectacular. Your buttocks are superb.
I was flexing a little bit in this shot. I got to admit it.
You were back flexing.
I was back flexing.
Back flex. That's a good shot.
I did triceps pull downs for 15 minutes on the beach.
So hold on. So you did all that, and then you didn't get the benefit of putting that out to the masses.
I'm just kidding. I didn't actually flex for the shot.
You did flex.
My daughter took the shot of me, and then I said I'm going to put on a t-shirt, and then I got ripped for it. So maybe on Twitter you could answer, should I have done it with the t-shirt, without the t-shirt?
And then if more people say you should, will you post the one without the shirt?
I think I will.
Nice.
Sure.
I think I will.
Why not?
Podcast news. We have a Twitter account now. Maybe perhaps we should do another segment, Lester, called Proof That Duthie is an Idiot. Why don't you do that one for me?
Proof that Duthie is an idiot.
Thank you. So I was sitting in the airport, and everybody kept telling me you have to start a Twitter account for your podcast. So I sat there, I had a half an hour before the flight, and so I started Rubber Boots Pod, at Rubber Boots Pod. And then at some point I logged out of it, and I forgot what email I used to set up the account, because I could not use my own email because it's for my own Twitter account. I don't know if I use my daughter's or my other daughter's or my son's, or I don't even have 2 email accounts because I'm an idiot. And now I can't get back into our own account.
So the Twitter account
is locked.
In fairness, that happened to me with my original Twitter handle.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
So at Rubber Boots Pod, please follow. And we will break into it at some point and start, because I wanted to start tweeting out of that account so we seem more official and get it verified and everything. But now it's just locked. So I'm sorry. I apologize to that.
These things happen.
Stuff we want to cover today. This bit. Did you guys hear about this South African soccer player? And his name is Mohamed Anas, I believe. And he had a spectacular game and was named the player of the match.
Man of the match.
Man of the match. Thank you, Puffy. And then he, in his interview post-game, said the following.
And I appreciate my fans also. My wife and my girlfriend. My wife. Yeah, sorry to say. I'm so sorry, my wife. Listen, I love you so much. I love you so much from my heart.
So this got lots of play. If you missed it, he said thank you to my wife and my girlfriend, and then
I'm sure they both are very supportive
to say no, just my wife. I wanted to ask you guys. I actually, and you may call me naive, think that it was just a slip of the tongue, and maybe he just married the girl. I haven't heard a follow up, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't really have a wife and a girlfriend. Is anybody buying what I'm saying?
I would believe that if he said my wife and fiance. But
girlfriend is a little too much.
Girlfriend's a little too far away for that to be confusing.
I believe him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. There's no reason not to. However, a long time ago, I heard a story from somebody that worked in the building, who was a reporter for us at the time, and she said there's a story about a guy that wakes up at 3:00 in the morning. He's a hockey player. And he wakes up and he goes, "Oh man, I got to get home to my wife," and she goes, "You are home."
So difficult.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So, I listen. Let's not kid ourselves. These things happen. But I do believe on that stage he was excited and he just misspoke. That's it.
Although he did really try to cover his ass.
Yeah, he did a lot of
quickly.
because he knows he's a professional athlete,
right.
And as such, there is a stigma.
Okay. The other thing that was fascinating in the sports world this week was the recovery of the Tom Brady jersey, game worn from the Super Bowl, that went missing right afterwards, which I'm still shocked, by the way, at how upset Brady was. Those clips in the dressing room, he was legit upset moments after the greatest Super Bowl comeback ever about losing this jersey. But so they found it, again, I'll do all the reportedly, we're taping this on Tuesday afternoon, in the house of a accredited reporter in Mexico. Now, first of all, the international media, I should explain how Super Bowl works. We are all grouped together in one hotel. So there's always the same guys, and I've done enough Super Bowls that I know practically everybody. So the Canadian press, the TSN guys are there. There's a crew from Germany. There is a crew from Japan. There is a crew from Mexico where they have these hand puppets every year, and they're ridiculous. And there's a few of the Mexican reporters.
Who would put puppets on television?
I know, that is insane! NHL on TSN 2003. So there's an almost guarantee, I've yet to see this guy's face, but that I've sat next to him on a shuttle or had a beverage with him in the crappy hotel bar, because they always put the international media in crappy hotel bars, that I will know this guy when they reveal him. But
do you have your suspicion? Like you know these guys' faces?
No, I don't know. I don't know their faces. I wouldn't know. I would have loved if it was one of the hand puppet guys, because that would have been one of the greatest things ever. Because these hand puppet guys sit in the hotel lobby practicing their hand puppet routines like every morning. It's 7 a.m. You're getting up to go to media day, and these guys are speaking in Mexican with hand puppets. And you feel like you're in some David Lynch movie. So I don't know that I would recognize the guy, but it is ballsy. And apparently he might have, Von Miller's helmet and cleats from 2 Super Bowls ago?
And I think they found Brady's Super Bowl 49 jersey. So that may be why Brady was so upset. This is back-to-back.
What about the deflated balls? Did they find any of those? Maybe that's why he was so upset. In all honesty, he had a tough year, right? So maybe that's why he was so upset. So I get it.
Before it was revealed that this the alleged thief was part of the international media from Mexico, the guys on Overdrive, Brian Hayes, Jamie McLennan, and the O-Dog brought this topic up and somehow took it to me.
Let's do a quick little yes guy, no guy. If you're Mark Milliere and Duthie gets caught stealing Brady's jersey, do you fire him?
Yes guy.
Yes.
Dude.
We would have to.
You steal Tom Brady's jersey.
I would lay down in traffic for James Duthie. I just don't believe I could defend his job because that's a jail term. We're talking jail.
Duthie knows
this guy's
answer.
Not getting
I'm the only guy standing up for him. I keep him.
All right. Love to the O-Dog.
Yeah. Noodle's saying that he would lie down in traffic for you, but he would fire you because of a minor theft is ridiculous.
That's a bit of a stretch. He's a father now. I don't know that he would even... he might push me out of the way of an oncoming bus. That would probably be the extent of it. Would you, Puffy, knowing that you're...
Well, I'd have to serve the time.
You're more tied to me. We've established that you serve prison time for me. Would you lay down in traffic for me?
In traffic? That's a lot of pain. But I definitely wouldn't want you fired.
Thank you, buddy. So then it went to then they took another turn. This entire discussion. Go ahead.
You're going to have him announcing from Rikers
Trade Center from Rikers Island.
He'd be in rubber boots.
He'd be in shackles.
Exactly.
The
Rubber
Shackles
Boots podcast from Alcatraz.
I don't think Roberto Luongo is going on the Rubber Boots podcast.
I'd
from
go
jail.
visit him in jail for sure, and I would add money to his commissary so that he could buy like.
Would you visit Duthie in jail?
That's a good question.
I would.
I don't know if I would.
I would. I'd sneak him some booze or something.
Would you visit me in jail? Legit question.
Yeah, of course I'd visit you in jail.
What if I did something that brought great embarrassment? Was one of those... What's the phraseology for it, Puffy? Socially unacceptable crime? Socially unacceptable crime. Would you risk your reputation to visit me in jail because of the relationship we've had over the last 12 years?
Yes, I would.
I don't believe you.
I would, but I would come visit you.
Puffy?
Would you visit me in jail when I was serving your time?
Oh, if
that would be like, I'd be like, I know he's coming. He's going to be here any day now.
Can you Skype?
Look, my point is,
like that son of a bitch.
Everybody needs support, and listen, we all listen. I believe in life. Honestly, we are all like one mistake away from having our
Lester,
lives
this
altered.
wasn't an actual real scenario.
No,
he's not going to jail.
Prison. No, I'm not saying going to jail, but you're asking me would I come visit you if you did something. I'm saying yes, I would come visit you.
You're the conscience. I've said to many people that you are the conscience of this podcast. Puffy's the degenerate of the podcast.
Thank you.
Christoph is the mystery man we still don't know about because we don't have a mic for him. And I'm sort of somewhere in the middle, but you are the conscience of the podcast, and we appreciate you for that.
I do what I
like
can.
how O-Dog's smuggling you in booze.
I know. That's just so O. I think that we're going to have related topics. Puffy has promised that he's going to do a thematic version of Puffy's Hypotheticals.
Puffy's hypotheticals are messing with my mind. Puffy's hypotheticals, what's it gonna be this time? Puffy's hypotheticals are blowing my mind again. Puffy's hypotheticals.
find myself humming that song a lot.
It's very
during
good.
the week,
It is
which
very
is
good.
a sign.
Can I tell you
right?
something about that riff?
Right.
I'm going to reuse that in something.
An actual tune?
Yeah, I really liked it.
But do you think if the podcast caught on that this would have a chance to be a recorded song that people would listen to and perhaps dance to?
You never know. You never know.
All right.
I think with the right production.
Because I was cynical. The first week you did what was the original version of Puffy's Hypotheticals?
Was it? Yeah,
Puffy's Hypotheticals.
Yeah, it was
simply irresistible.
Yeah.
And I like that version, but Puffy wanted a hip hop version because he's street, and so we
Very
did it that
hard.
way.
Very hard.
All right, Puffy's Hypotheticals. Go ahead.
Okay, so along the same theme with the Tom Brady thing, what sports memorabilia item would you steal if you could? Well, I guess you could, but what would you steal?
Well, that's okay. I want you guys to go first because I hate memorabilia in general. I told you I own one thing, which was a Tim Raines baseball, and all my friends got drunk and all signed the baseball, and that was the one item I've ever owned in my life.
You don't talk to any of those people, do you?
Yeah, they're still my best buddies, but
That's
they're idiots. Go. Why don't you answer your own question first, Puffy?
Mine would be Joey Bat's bat flip bat.
Does that exist somewhere? Is that in Cooperstown, or
I
do you
don't
know?
if it's in Cooperstown, but
okay.
I'm sure I would have loved to have grabbed that.
Do you have stuff? Are you one of those geeky guys that
I'm
has
not.
stuff
I'm actually.
in your room?
I've never liked autographs or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've never been really big into that. My kids are, but not me.
Lester?
I'm you guys know maybe you guys know I'm a big Habs fan, so I'm gonna go with something a little more maybe lesser known but important in Habs history. Guy Lafleur's stick from the May 10th, 1979 Too Many Men on the Ice game.
Wow, that's a good one.
That is
Yeah.
pretty good.
That's
That'd be
solid.
pretty clever.
Now, if you had to do a music one, Lester, would you do somebody's guitar or something like that?
You know what? I definitely.
Like a Chuck Berry or
Like,
a Elvis, or
you
who
know,
would
Chuck
be
Berry,
your
Chuck-
guy?
Honestly, if I had to go guitars, believe it or not, it'd probably be Eddie Van Halen. One of those Kramer from the 80s guitars. You know, he had with the stripes, the red and white and black. I think it would be that.
You know what I got? I got a piece of memorabilia. I've lost it somewhere, but maybe deep in my basement. These spoons played at my high school, and I got one of the picks from whoever the hot girl in the spoons was.
Really? Sandy Horn? I think
Sandy Horn. She
Sandy
threw
Horn.
her pick at me.
Nice.
Really?
And I
You know
got
what that
it.
means.
And
She's trying to hurt you, probably.
I think so.
Take out an eye or something.
Come on, Lester. In romantic traffic. Anybody under 30 has just turned off the podcast.
that definitely is the music video I would most likely have wanted to be in.
Romantic traffic?
Yeah.
Interesting.
How cool would that have been to be like a little kid? Well, for me, I would have been a little kid. You could have just been in there doing that. That would have been awesome. Riding the subway. Great music video.
Maybe we should have one thing we have to do is get some women on the podcast. I really want, not only in here but also as guests. We have lagged behind on that, and so maybe we can get Sandy Horn if she's out there somewhere, and we can reminisce about the spoons and see if
I could hook that up.
Come on, really?
Yeah, I might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Because I think
who knows her.
the way
seems
she
like a
looked at
connection.
me, I don't know if she remembers that boy at Gloucester High School in the front row.
They're still playing, eh?
So I don't know what mine would be. I think it would be like maybe the Dwight Clark jersey or something, or from the Catch. And by the way, Dwight Clark's going through a horrible illness right now, which is terrible. But I really don't give a crap about memorabilia, so I hate that question, Puffy. Christoph, we didn't.
I have to admit, for a second there, I thought you were going in another direction. I don't give a crap about it. I'm like, no.
Please. All of us had a conscience there.
Christoph?
For me, maybe go with the Stanley Cup.
Just
Steal the Stanley Cup.
That's actually next level.
Actually,
not a bad idea.
admit that now, what would the punishment be for someone who stole the Stanley Cup? Like, you might get, they might come the death penalty back in the country.
So you steal it.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's just a law. It's just theft over $5,000 or whatever. So
But
I don't
it's the
think
Stanley Cup.
You can't. But you can't just rewrite the law and
It
say
means
we're going to
more
murder you.
than just a regular $5,000.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, it wouldn't even matter. Let's see, he'd be happy to take jail term because he'd be a bounty on his head for anybody who steals the Stanley Cup, right? In Canada.
You think he'd be killed? You think Christoph would be
somebody
killed?
might try to take him out, you know? For sure. No offense. I mean, he's a lovely man and everything, but you don't steal the Stanley Cup. And I heard,
Yeah, Yeah, that's just low, Christoph.
That's low. That's very low.
Puffy, what's the next? What's the next
The
question?
next one's a little darker,
Give him the
not
microphone.
completely dark.
Yeah, you promised us you were going to go really dark this week.
I did.
You've postponed that one?
Yeah, postponed it just
All right.
a little bit. So these are all, you have to pick one of 3 scenarios, and you will earn $1 billion if you successfully complete the scenario.
It's a multiple choice question. Okay.
First one would be, would you serve 6 months in a maximum security prison where the other inmates think you committed a very socially unacceptable crime? Skydive when you have to pick one of 5 backpacks where only 4 have parachutes, or swim across 250 feet of crocodile-infested water at night.
And sorry. So
you get $1 billion.
Once again, I like to complicate things. But do you have an option of doing? So you can do none of these if you want. So could you say none of the above? I'm just going to stay with my normal life, or I'm going to take one of these 3 risks for $1 billion. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
It's $1 billion. You can do a lot of stuff with that.
Okay, now socially unacceptable crimes.
Just to say the other inmates aren't going to be too pleased to see you walking around.
Minimum, medium, or maximum security?
Maximum security.
You have the maximum security type inmates, but you're not in solitary.
Are you going? Look, I can't beat around the bush. Are you going to get raped?
Well, there's a good chance that you're gonna suffer something.
Okay. It was 4 out of 5 parachutes.
4
so
out of 5.
you have an 80% chance of winning $1 billion and a 20% chance of dying.
Yeah, and not only do you win $1 billion, you get to skydive. It's amazing. Like you're just floating down. Like I'm a billionaire now.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
But the other way, you're
done.
Yeah, you're done.
By the way, there have been people who have survived skydives when their chute hasn't opened. To me, that's the most miraculous thing in the world.
Bear Grylls guy did.
How is that possible? You have to land on the perfect forest canopy, wouldn't you?
Or you as soon as you hit the ground, you're running. Like you're running right away. Like you really have to time it right. That
does not work.
I've seen it.
I did skydiving.
The Flintstones.
I did skydiving once, but I did like the dual tandem skydiving. So you have a guy strapped to your back, and it's much. You feel like his life's on the line too. So it was unbelievable.
Well, it is on the line.
I did it one time, but I did it where it was the ripcord.
Right.
But you did it by yourself.
So you actually pulled it? But you pull it right away, right?
No. What happens is, it's not. Maybe it's not a ripcord, but you're tethered to the plane. So when you jump out, you free fall for 7 seconds, and then it pulls your chute.
Oh. Okay.
But if that doesn't work, you're responsible for the second chute. And so when we did our practice runs, I failed.
Wait, how do you practice?
Well, like you do this thing where you're like, you put this stuff on, and then you like got to show them that you know what you're supposed to do. And then I didn't really pay attention. And then the guy said, well, you can do it if you want. And I said, sure, let's go for it. And my chute opened, but I went through a tree. Wow. I landed in the tree.
So if your chute did not open on the real attempt,
I was dead.
Would you have
chance.
Done the running thing?
Yeah,
just hope you landed on the perfect angle.
That was my backup plan.
Okay, so those are your options in the crocodiles.
Yep. At night.
Wow.
That's a terrifying 250 feet of swimming.
How deep is it?
I think
deep enough that you're swimming.
In reality, I would probably pass because I have a good life.
So you don't need the $1 billion.
I don't think I need.
Look at you, fancy pants. Some of us need $1 billion, James.
But if I was to choose when I do the parachute, I would take the 80% chance of living, and if I die,
but I mean,
it's a good way to go.
The crocodiles might not be hungry.
So you answer. What do you take?
No. I think I would do the prison time. I would take that 18 months, and I would ride it out. Your least chance of dying.
Excuse me, I thought it was 6 months. What is it in 18 months?
Oh, did I say 6? I meant 18.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So, Lester?
Well, that changes everything. Like, I mean, for me...
6 months to 18 months is a big difference?
6 months to 18 months is a big deal. Like, I think if it's 6 months, you could potentially duck and hide and... Listen...
There's no hiding in prison.
Well, I've been to jail. I haven't been to jail.
I was gonna say, when did you go to jail?
What? But I would still take that risk of that time because listen, 80%, 20% chance you're going to die at the parachute, and I think your chances of swimming across. You never swimming across those crocodiles.
I think those crocodiles are they nocturnal?
You don't know what crocodiles think.
You're right. You might just be able to bust through that. Did you see the crocodile on the golf course the other day where the golfer touched him? He gave him a little touch, and the crocodile jumped in the water like he was terrified.
Yeah,
like
listen, that's that crocodile.
I
think I'd have a heart attack about 150 feet in.
Well, I think that, and then also I think with the jumping too, you'd have a heart attack too. The anxiety might kill you alone.
Would you swim fast with the crocodiles or try to be really quiet?
I think I'd go real slow.
So I would just go
just like little, but then my heart would be like
and you can't bring weapons or anything.
No weapons. So that's the thing. You could wrestle the crocodile.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
I don't know. You know what I saw? Did you guys?
I think you're dead. I think you're dead with the crocodile.
Did you guys watch The Night Of on? I think it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Great series, The Night Of. So where the guy it's supposed to show a pretty realistic portrayal of the prison system the way it is right now, and he was smart. That guy. Like, he went in, he was a young kid, and he befriended, like, the tough-ass drug dealers, and he became a complete drug addict and such. But maybe that would be the key to go in.
Well, listen, and that's what I'm saying. I think if you go to prison, there's still a chance you will be okay.
But then you come out and you're addicted to
heroin.
heroin.
It's a socially unacceptable crime, too, right?
So they're gunning for you.
That's true, too.
Do you think I would have any street cred as myself? Do you think I would be able to go, hey, guys, it's the TSN guy. You want to be friends with me? I'll talk about the panel.
No, they'd be like, we just had sex with the TSN.
Again,
how it would go
what
for
did you do? What did you do? That's my question, right?
Well, I mean, Puffy's not going to say it, but he's laying it out that it's not a good crime.
It's not a good crime.
It's socially unacceptable.
Unfortunately,
stealing the Stanley Cup.
We know what those are, unfortunately. So.
All right. So
I would still take the prison time.
You guys are both doing the time, Christoph?
I did the skydiving. Yeah. So if you survive, you're good. Yeah. The other ones, you're damaged for life.
Crack your head open. That's a good point.
It's another good edition of Puffy's Hypotheticals. I'll throw that out online if we could ever break back into our Twitter account. But it was funny because Puffy last week we did the if you could change the ending of one sporting event, and that was the only tweet I think I sent out from the Twitter account before I locked myself out of it. And you had said Game 6, 93, the Kerry Fraser thing, and that was probably the overwhelming response I got on Twitter was from that.
If I could just do a little TSN plug-in for a second, a good friend of ours, Matt Dunn, did a nice feature on Game 6.
He did.
Yeah, he whipped that together right after I put that question out. Well done.
It was very good. And then last night I went online and gave him credit, and I said Matt Cade, who's another TSN producer. So poor Matty Dunn doesn't even get props for that.
Oh my God.
Anyway, another fine edition of Puffy's Hypotheticals. In the coming weeks on the podcast, I mentioned we have Eric Stone Street from Modern Family coming on. He's also got a new game show I believe he's hosting. Jay Onright and Dan O'Toole, probably the most in-demand guests from our friends on Twitter who asked me for guests. I think I'm going to have them on separately because as good as they are together, and they'll be back in September doing their own show together, they are individuals. They're not half men. And I think I want to get each of their stories of what the life in L.A. was like from each one of them. So I think Onright's coming on next week. Again, we are in search of female guests. Maybe I'll ask Alicia Cuthbert. After hanging out at the movie, she'd be fantastic. Loves hockey.
You know who would like to hear on this podcast? Who? Trish Stratus.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think that'd be good.
I know Trish.
She used to be in the building.
Yeah, she used to invite me to her yoga studio all the time, Trish. I never went because she was intimidating. And I get intimidated by incredibly strong women who could kick the crap out of me, which is most women these days. But today it is Biz Nasty, Paul Bissonnette. One of the things we want on this podcast is people we like and people we like talking to and people who make us laugh. Biz Nasty was on the panel a long time ago and was fantastic, and he's now a Calder Cup champion with the Ontario Reign, the LA Kings farm team. So Lester's put together a nice song for Biz.
Biz Nasty! It's your first, but not your last. Oh, welcome to the Rubber Boots Podcast. Biz Nasty! Welcome to the show.
There you go. You got your own intro song, Paul Bissonnette.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
That's our boy Lester. He does that for all the guests that come on the Rubber Boots podcast.
We should do a collab with the rapper friends that I met at my complex.
Well, why don't we start there? Because when I went, I had not heard this somehow, and when I said you were coming on and I asked on Twitter what questions you'd have for Biz Nasty, a bunch of people said, get him to retell the story of how he somehow got involved in a rap video in the complex. So go for it.
Oh, I did. I think it was a game day, and we came back from a pregame skate. and there was like two cars in the middle of the parking lot facing each other, and you know, and they had a camera crew and stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? So one of the guy's girlfriends sent a Snapchat to my girlfriend, and it was like a rap video going on. She's like, what's this rap video going on in your place? And I'm like, oh, that's what that was? So I'm like, okay, I got to go out and see what's going on. And there was this rapper who, I didn't realize he lived in our complex. I just thought they were using our complex. So his name's Billionaire Calhoun is his rap name. You guys can follow him on Instagram.
Hey, when I was young, I had dreams of popping Chris, throwing bands at the strip and dropping rollies on my wrist.
He has a very aggressive Instagram though. Like he'll have like strippers at his place just like shaking their ass.
Whoa. For you to say someone has a very aggressive Instagram would have been a very aggressive Instagram then.
Oh yeah, this guy is like if there's like a certain max level you can get to before they take your Instagram down, this guy hits it with every post. So he'll post like his Instagram stories with like he'll like call strippers over to his house, and he had a video vixen at our place when he was filming this, and it was his like girl in the video.
What was her name?
Oh God, I got her on Instagram. I forget her name, but I have it on the video that I posted. Like I posted a whole thing, like just following them around that day. And
did you get in the video yourself at all?
No, I didn't. But he wants to do like a collab and get me in the next video. And I asked him if I could get a verse on it, and he agreed. So I need to find a ghostwriter quick because I got no skills.
Hey, buddy, this is what I do. You may know the song "Puck Over Glass." You may know the song. What's the other one? "Don't Take My Gold Away." This is what I do.
Well, here we go. Now we're rolling, man. Now we're just like the juices are flowing. There's money to be made because Billionaire Calhoun was rocking a Rolex.
Oh yeah, he was doing all right. Because I've never heard a rap song, and I'm actually into rap from Billionaire Calhoun. So
I saw a couple of his songs, and they're your basic, like money and girls. And
so you don't run with him. You're not hanging with him now. Is that like he's not your guy?
They asked me to come to some club sometime, but that's not really my scene anymore, and I kind of lay low. So
I know that's disappointing to me, actually. And you're in a relationship right now? Is that the deal?
Yeah, I got a girl. Yeah, awesome girl, and she's in Phoenix. She lives in Cave Creek, Arizona. So
okay. So is it wrong if Puffy, who's also on the podcast, had a bunch of questions about you and your single life? Am I still allowed to get into that a little bit later on?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's
I mean, it's all on the internet. Like, there's nothing to hide from, right?
Right.
I used to run pretty good. I got it out of my system pretty good there. So
does she go through your old Instagram and Twitter and all that? Eh?
No, she's like 36, so she kind of just rolls her eyes, and boys will be boys. She gets it.
Wow, older woman. So what attracted you to
I would highly recommend. I mean, you don't want to get too old because then you're changing diapers at one point, but yeah, you got to find the perfect age.
And why do you recommend that?
Oh, just so much less headaches. I don't want to sound like a sexist, but like she cooks unbelievable. Like they take care of me. I'm not saying I like cooking too, but
no, there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a woman being a good cook. She can be 8 million other things, right?
Yeah, exactly. She has an extremely good drive, work ethic, and she works. She's awesome. It's just a lot less headaches. They're very comfortable in their own skin, and they know how to treat a man, that's for sure.
I should probably tell people, because if people aren't active or follow you on Insta and Twitter, some people might have lost touch with you after you left the Coyotes. So you now play in the LA Kings organization with the Ontario Reign, correct?
Yeah.
Calder Cup champions. What was that like?
That was awesome. That start to that year when I didn't have a contract, I went to St. Louis's camp, and it didn't work out there, but it was awesome. They had a great bunch of guys, and I left there like feeling good. And Hitchcock and Armstrong were like, we're gonna, anyone who calls us, we're gonna tell you you'd be a great fit, and they were very positive. And then I left there, and after about a week, I still hadn't got a phone call, and then it started getting pretty rough as far as like, just got a little depressed, got in a bit of a funk there, and about a month went by.
You almost went back to Wales, right?
I actually signed a contract with an out clause that if I found a deal within the next 10 days that I wouldn't go, which they were cool with. They were like, yeah, sure, if it doesn't work out, come. And Don Maloney and my agent talked, and then I ended up getting a job with the AHL team in Portland, who was Phoenix's farm team. Went there. It didn't work out. I don't think I've never really had an issue with a coach. Me and the coach didn't really see eye to eye. I don't think he really liked me, whatever. It was odd. I got released after about a month there, and I reached out to Fuda, who I had in junior. Mike Fuda, who's with the Kings, he's like with their, and Mike Stothers, who was the head coach now in Manchester. Who I'm in Ontario now, but the team was in Manchester at the time, the AHL affiliate. Went there, and it was unbelievable. Team was awesome, fit right in, and just a great bunch of guys. And we had such a good team, and we ended up winning the Calder Cup. And it just, the way the year started to how it ended, it was just, I couldn't have asked for more. It kind of gave me like a, when you go from the NHL to the A, you'd be like, not take it as serious maybe and think, oh, this is a joke. But it was the complete opposite, where I was so grateful for what they'd done for me, and it was a good way to kind of, on the downturn of my career, to enjoy it.
All right, so this is the reason we have you on for questions like this. What is it actually? What is the party actually like when you win a championship?
It's awesome. You're so high off life. It was crazy. But then obviously you booze.
What do you? What do you do? Once the dressing room celebration's on, and you're probably already drunk in the dressing room, right?
Oh yeah.
Then where? Where does it go from there?
Well, the thing is, we won it in Utica, so we were on the bus. We had a bus back like 7 hours.
Oh, man.
So we didn't sleep a wink. And then, the next day, LA's first class as far as the way they treat their players, too, even the American League. We were going out to all these nice restaurants. Like, they were paying for everything. And then we had the mini parade thing. And the thing is, Manchester's not exactly the craziest party city, but, we made the most of it. But it was after that when I got to party with my buddies and stuff when I kind of really cranked her up. I went to Cabo for 4 days, and then I ended up going to that Calgary Stampede, which that was a year where the girl had the video. She was getting 2-on-1 in the back alley there,
right.
And it kind of went national. I guess it went global.
You weren't involved on that though.
I was not. Not. Apparently, I had a buddy one of his buddies was one of the guys. He might have been the caboose.
I have heard, I've only been to the Stampede as a kid, and I've been to Eberle's golf tournament a bunch of years, and he usually goes to the Stampede right after his golf tournament and tells me how great it is. And is it as legendary as people say?
If you're in that frame of lifestyle, it might not be your cup of tea now. It might be for like a day or two. But yeah, that was probably my last summer where I really let loose, and I was still in that kind of party mode, and it was,
The girls recognize you all across Canada? Like, if you go to the Stampede...
Yeah, it was pretty good. Like I'm just like a clown. I'm not like a famous hockey player. They're just like, oh, there's Biz Nasty, the clown. But yeah, it's a revolving door. Like, yeah, it was a joke.
Okay, so when you're single, how do you know the difference between a girl who's, hey, it's Biz Nasty, a clown, I just want to get my photo with him, and a girl who's, hey, it's Biz Nasty, I'm in?
You usually have like a good, like I have a good radar for that. Yeah, it was. That's never been an issue as far as like deciphering which one is ready to go. Worst case scenario, you get a number and then you fire off a text.
Yeah,
later that day, see who they're at, and
okay.
But there, it's like there's just so many that you don't even need that. Like you would go there and then you would leave and go back to the hotel with them and then come back.
Wow.
And then it's just silly.
Would you shower in between?
But you don't even need to be a hockey player at the Stampede to get that. Whereas if you are, it's just even more aggressive.
You see, but I never, that's why I think
shower.
I'm interested.
Well,
if you said you go home to the motel and you come back, are you showering first before you come back?
Maybe use a little sink scrub or something, just a little spray of cologne or something.
Oh, that's just disgusting. Have you ever been to that, what's that music festival in Saskatchewan, Craven? Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard. I went a while ago.
That's supposed to be the single craziest, ridiculous thing ever.
I went to one.
I went one night with Eberle and Hall, and it was something to behold.
Oh, was it? Oh, I'm sure with those guys too.
Yeah, it's just.
I actually think I might have heard a few Hall stories from that Craven.
you may
I don't want to tell other guys' stories, though.
No,
but you guys could just imagine,
No, we'll have him on at some point.
Okay, so Puffy has asked, since we're on this topic now, I do have other questions for you, but Puffy's question was, so when you're single, what was the best city in the NHL for you to pick up?
God, where did I have my most success? I would probably say Chicago. Chicago is just a good city. Like it's there's a lot of beautiful girls there. It's where all like the attractive women from the Midwest. That's like their big city to go to, I find. So that's where usually, they all are, and they're pretty laid back. They're not. When you go to like places like LA and New York City, the girls are so into themselves, and they're just kind of looking to status climb. Where like we're just hockey players. They don't know who that. They don't know who we are. Right?
So if they're talking to the AHL guy and then the NHL guy shows up, you're in trouble, right?
You're in a deep one. You better have some good game, or
the two-way contracts don't work as well.
Those are no good. Those are like napkin contracts. They just rip them up and see you later.
Okay, Puffy's follow-up question to that was, what percentage of girls that you picked up would be from Twitter, Instagram, whatever, social media, I guess Snapchat nowadays, over just regular going to a bar, saying hello?
See, I was always a chase guy. Like, I never really met a ton off social media. Like, there was the odd few, but a lot of the time when you prearrange things, it's kind of a little awkward as opposed to letting something happen genuinely.
But isn't that the way it happens for players now? Don't they live it that way because isn't that how they all meet their ladies, Snapchat or whatever?
Well, I would say this next generation coming up, like I said, I'm more of a guy where I want to go out and have beers and socialize.
Okay.
And live it organically, where there's not as much drinking in the NHL. Like, I would say this new generation comes up more like they're just kind of on their phones. They play video games. They're a little more antisocial. Where but it's easier for them to just be like, hey, do you want to come over? Sure, they come over. Things happen.
It's really no fun, is it? You're right, in a way.
It's like,
I think the fun for any girl or guy is the chase, right? Going to the bar, meeting those initial first conversations. That was the whole joy of the thing, right?
It's got to be. I mean, you'd think, right? It's an achievement. Whereas, like, it was just on your phone. It was just a layup. Like, it was just so happens you were the guy that messaged her, where she just would have went to the next guy's house.
Right. But when you were on the panel, when you came on the panel, what year was that? Do you remember? Like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It was in your heyday of Biz Nasty on Twitter, and you came in for the playoffs for a few days, and you were kind of showing me stuff that girls were sending you, and it was impressive. It was
I was young. That stuff was cool. Now when you're 25, that stuff's fun.
Right.
You kind of grow out of it stuff, but it was. I mean, I guess any 25-year-old, 20 to 25, would love that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, it gets to a point where if you're 40 and you're showing stuff like that, guys,
it gets a little embarrassing.
It's
like Mackenzie when he pulls out the videos that the girls send him. It's just wrong, and there are a lot.
He's got some fans.
He is smooth.
Do that.
He's smooth, that man. I tried to tell on the podcast when Bob was on a couple of weeks ago the story about you and Carrie Fraser and the brush. And it's kind of hard to tell because it is there's part of it that's X-rated. Do you remember this?
No, when I did the panel?
So you did the panel, and Carrie Fraser was in at the same time. And I believe a young lady had sent you a video or something that you might have been sharing with somebody, a couple of us, maybe Puffy and Carrie Fraser. Puffy reminded me of the story.
Craig McTavish was there, too.
Craig McTavish was there, so the whole thing was a little awkward. Mac T, who's got a whole thing named after him, right? Isn't that the coolest thing ever?
Yeah, well, we were calling him Mac Nasty on that particular week there.
So Carrie Fraser's famous for his hair, and Biz is famous for meeting girls at that time. And you show Carrie a video of a girl using a device to help her enjoy herself. And Carrie, who's the nicest guy in the world and very innocent, happily married guy, says, "Hey, that looks exactly like my hairbrush."
I don't remember that.
And then he signs the hairbrush for you. And you left with Carrie Fraser's hairbrush. And I think we're all greatly disappointed that you don't have it up on a wall somewhere.
Yeah, or in a video that I could have sent to you guys. That would have been iconic.
Exactly. It is crazy, though, don't you think? You're the third most followed person on Twitter of hockey players, Ovi and Malkin. Do you ever sit back still and go, man, how did I get there? Like the guys behind you are PK and Kane and Luongo and Lundqvist, and there's Biz Nasty at number 3.
Yeah. You know what? It was a pretty crazy run there for about 5 years when, like, I was saying whatever I wanted, and an NHL team, like Don Maloney was great about it as far as just kind of letting me do my thing. And there was a few times he had to call me in and be like, hey, man, this is way too aggressive. Like, tone it down.
Right. You had to delete your account at one point, right? And then started it back up again?
Yeah, that was more my agent being like, whoa, what? Like, there's no way this team's going to allow this. You got to shut it down.
Right.
He's like, I guess his exact words were, no good can come of this. So, but the exact opposite happened. So, it's crazy. It's, you know, like I said, I kind of credit the fact that I was able to say those kind of things where most organizations would have been like, no way. Imagine playing for Toronto and saying the stuff I was saying.
Well, especially right now. And in Lou's world, you would be on Robidas Island, as they call it. You'll be remembered as a guy who had, who had a career in the NHL. And by the way, I think we forget that sometimes. You were a player. You were drafted 31st in the OHL, MVP of the top prospects game, win a gold medal with the U18 team for Canada. Did you think you were going to be a player in the league?
You did your homework, eh?
That's what I'm paid for, buddy.
Yeah. No. You know what? At one point, I thought, I could maybe be like a 6D man, but a lot of guys get stubborn in their role and what they think they are in their head. I was one of those guys where they were basically like, "Hey, dude, you're kind of dog shit, but you're willing to like." We think you're willing to do the things necessary to maybe be a fourth liner.
Was there one talk? Did one guy say that to you? Was there a moment where you're like, okay, if I got to make it, I'll be a fourth line scrapper?
I was having some discipline stuff issues going on with the Pittsburgh organization, and I'd been sent down to the East Coast, and I was ripping it up as a D-man in the East Coast, and I was a 2-time All-Star on the East Coast as well. And then they finally called me up my third year of my entry level. And my first game, I was fourth line left wing. And it was one of those things, man, where it just clicked. They didn't say one word to me. I went out against the Phantoms that game. I asked every guy in their lineup to fight. I didn't fight that game, but I think I finished the year that year with like 32 fights.
Wow.
And they re-signed me, and that next year I started in the NHL. I was up for 26 games, played 15. So it was just like those days are over, though, as far as the fighting's concerned, where you can be that one-dimensional, but I just was like, screw it, man. If that's how I'm going to make it there, I'll do it.
You still scrap? Do you still scrap? I looked at your PIMs, and they're not that high the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard down here to find them. But
you still look for them?
Last year, I hurt my back. I herniated a disc, and then this year I tore my ACL. So I'm trying to come back from that without surgery. So I just haven't really played much this year. So hopefully I can get it good enough to finish the season on it.
That's funny that this sounds like a plug, but that movie Goon 2 is out. It's called Last of the Enforcers, which I have this little role in, and it's kind of true though. Like you're part of that end of that generation, right? Where it's going to be gone. Your type is disappearing.
Yeah, it's gone, and I'll say this: I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just kind of on the fighting side of things, where I believe it does have a place in the game. Guys need to be able to protect themselves, because if you've seen Connor. He like in junior, he snapped on that kid who was falling around all game, giving him dirty shots. You saw who's the kid from Philly that's been bugging him a lot in games.
Brandon Manning.
Yeah, and he's been giving him a hard time. So I feel like, hey, if he wants to take matters into his own hands, either he should be able to.
Yeah. Is it? Are you seeing the end of your career? You say you got the back problem. Your role has been diminished. Is this the end this year, or?
Could be. I don't know. It's like 50-50 in the air. But 3 years ago when I didn't have the contract, that would have been I would have been devastating to end it there. But now I'm comfortable with where I'm at. So, if I can get another year or two out, if I want it, then I'll try. But it's hopefully get into the media side of things when I'm done.
Yeah, I've had a hell of a run. Some quick media things. Sorry, that almost slid right by me. You want to be on the panel full time? Is that where we're talking here?
You know what? I was meaning to mention this because I knew I was coming on this podcast. When I came there and I did that, the amount of respect I have for all the guys who do the panel went up immensely, just as far as how hard it is, where you're on the clock, you have a limited amount of time to get your thought out, and every fan and every person out there listening is hanging on your every word. If you slip up one thing, you're getting 3,000 Twitter messages about how you messed up. It's insane. You guys kill it.
No, you know what? You did a great job. But my favorite moment was I think it was Vancouver Nashville playing, and that was the game you were doing. And the Canucks were up 3-1 and at home. And I said something like, "Biz, do you think if you're the Canucks, you want to go back to Nashville?" And you're like, "Well, of course. Why wouldn't you want to go back to Nashville? The girls there are awesome. Have you ever been there?" And I said, "No, Biz. I meant going back to losing the game in a game 5. Oh, no, you definitely don't want to do that. But seriously, go there afterwards. It's amazing."
Yeah, you know what? I don't think I was necessarily that professional on that panel because I was out till like 5 a.m. every night there.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Well, Mackenzie does the same, and he's a legend, so there you go.
Yeah, but that's why he's a professional, because he can do it, plain guilty.
So a bunch of people had other questions for you online. We asked, at Giopedo said, what do hockey players call teammates who already have a Y at the end of their name?
I read that yesterday, and I think we just keep it the same. There's a few of us that usually think of like weird stuff, like we pick out their flaws, but we kind of make them like uninsecure about them, and we got to roll with it.
What's your favorite one of those, if you can think of one off the top of your head? Who have you made? Who's got the worst nickname that they don't want?
Well, so we had a guy on our team this year who he might have slipped up and he slept around on his girl, and he was so bummed out about it, and he thought he was being a distraction to the team, and we weren't doing so well at the time. And I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is what we needed." And I started calling him the spark plug, and then we went on like a 7-game winning streak, so I called him the spark plug. And I was like, "That was the most selfless thing you could have done for this team. Like, you should get a letter, just things like that, But these guys, they're young, they have girlfriends.
That defines hero. That defines hero. Sleeping around to get your team out of a slump.
That's so selfless of them, and I appreciated that, and everyone kind of saw where I was coming from once I had this talk in the room.
I'm sure your girlfriend would feel the same way.
No, see, I'm not that selfless anymore.
I know.
I'll fight the guy, but I ain't cheating.
Yeah. At Stop Saying 6 says, what's the best in-game chirp, delivered or heard, I guess?
It came from a guy from our team who said it to another guy. He let a shot go, and it was a muffin, and he was skating by, and he goes, "Jesus," he's like, hit the rice bucket, buddy. And I thought it was pretty good, and it's very subtle.
Nice.
And I tend to use it now too. If a guy's doing bad on draws playing for the other team, I tell him to hit the rice bucket.
Solid.
That's my.
Babcock in TO says, "Did you ever go to church with Doan?"
We used to do chapels, and I used to attend them after weekends where I'd maybe not been so good to feel better about myself.
Are you Catholic?
Yeah, I believe in God. I'm not I don't go every week. I'm not like a hardcore. Donor's good about it too. He doesn't push it on guys. He just likes talking about it, chatting about it.
So you would do the most degenerate things for 3 days, and then go to Donor's Chapel and feel good about yourself when you walked out and start all over again.
I would show up to Donor's Chapel, and he would kind of be like, "Oh, geez," and this might be longer than half an hour. But he's got this image of being like some big Bible thumper, but he believes in God, but he's not like a hardcore where he's judgmental or judges you. He just, he does his thing, he lets you do yours, and if you want to chat about it, he'll chat about it.
What's the craziest party situation you've ever been in the height of all this? Just give me some sort of Vegas crazy scene with,
There's been some crazy Vegas stuff, but I would say there was a point in time there when I was in Phoenix where things got a little crazy with there was like a couple, and they would always have me over, and there'd be like 10 girls there. I won't go into details.
Whoa, like a couple, like they what are you saying? They got off on this kind of thing, or what?
Yeah, they just they would invite me over, and they would have girls for me, and then even at one point, the wife, and it just got really. I won't go into crazy details, but it was just like okay, that was like, all right, I'm out of this. This is getting too weird.
Yeah, that's the kind of fan involvement that takes teams to a next level.
We called it the house of. Well, I called it the house of no return. Like you go there and you wake up, you get up till 6, and you're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. Like, where do these people live?
Oh,
and they were loaded. They had like a huge house and stuff. But it was
were they season ticket holders?
That was the year we made our big playoff run. So they started coming to all the games, and yeah, it just got really weird.
Yeah. Your book's going to be outstanding, by the way.
After the first morning it happened, like where it was just a gong show in the house, and it was a very weird breakfast.
What is said at that breakfast?
Not much, man. A lot of uncomfortable conversation, a lot of looking at your phone.
But yet you went back.
Yeah, those are the ones where you're like, oh, I'm never going back, and then like they're like, oh yeah, we got a bunch of girls over and stripper poles, and you're just like, oh, all right,
all right, if I have to.
Sorry, twist my arm. Yeah,
did any of you guys did you sense any players resentful to you? I know some players loved it. One of the moments I think you really arrived on Twitter was when I think Lidstrom came up to you in a pregame warm-up and said, hey, I follow you on Twitter or something, and I think you tweeted that night, I won Twitter, which I believe you created that phrase, that was the first time that was ever said. I may be wrong, but people have used that for the last decade.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was crazy, man. I was a nobody. I was a fourth line healthy scratch most nights, and you got Lindstrom saying something to you at the red line. It's like, what? It's crazy.
But did any guys hate you for it because did you get chirped because you're this fourth line guy who gets scratched a lot and you're getting all this attention?
Yeah, like oh yeah, go tweet it, buddy, and you're like, oh god. But no, like most of the guys on the team, we had all like a lot of married guys on our team in Phoenix, and one thing about the NHL is that's like maybe people think like, oh, these guys are on the road running around their wives. Man, those like our married guys were faithful. They rarely went out on the road, and they kind of loved it because they kind of just lived vicariously. They're like, they were young once too, but they would never go out, and they'd be like, oh, like tell us stories, and then that was probably the reason I got a 2-year extension the first time. And then just get the powwows going.
The vets all stood up for you and said, hey, we need this guy.
Yeah, they're like, man, we need this entertainment. Let's keep this guy around.
Well, I'm no different from them. I'm happily married. I live vicariously through you too. So, but everybody likes to hear the stories. One headline described your life as a hot mess of awesome, and I thought that summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, and then when that house of no return came around, that's when the guys are kind of like, all right, man, maybe time to take a step back here.
When you write the book, which you should, and I can help you out with that if you want, I want the house of no return to at least be a chapter, if not more.
Oh, that would definitely, if I did ever write a book, it would definitely be a chapter. Though I'll tell you the whole story one time when we talk off air.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to spook your customers out.
Well, listen, bud, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate your time. I'm glad you're still playing. I'm glad you have a ring. I'm glad you've settled down with a girl, but I'm glad you still have the stories as well.
Yeah, I think I did it the right way. I just, I got it out of my system.
I think you did. The guys who get married at 24 or whatever, that's the dumbest thing ever.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Richards did it perfect. Retired, gets married, has a couple of kids. Exactly, perfect, right? And
oh yeah,
yeah,
and not to say like any woman would ever be after a guy's money, like in that regard, but then you protect yourself that way, because I've seen numerous guys play their whole career, 10 years, and then next thing you know, they retire, and the wife ends up leaving them, and they lose half of what they made playing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a shitty situation. I've heard of a couple of those.
Well, I have a billion other questions for you. I'd love to talk about your time playing in Cardiff and everything else. So we'll have you on again, but we just got started on this sucker. This is only episode number 6, and we've had a bunch of movie stars and such on. So you're only the second hockey guy we've had on. I want people that I like and people that have good stories, and you fit those perfectly. So good having you on, buddy.
Hey, and last point, Cardiff just won the league championship over there. And
nice.
So congrats to them.
Are you in the Hall of Fame in Cardiff?
No. I was like the Crosby there, though. It was kind of cool.
I know. You scored on your first shift or something, didn't you?
Yeah, first shift. Yeah.
That could be another name for the book. The Crosby of Cardiff.
The Crosby. There you go. Yes. I knew there was a reason I came on the podcast.
Okay, buddy, take care.
Okay, thanks, Doc.
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?
Biz Nasty 2.0 never disappoints. And Biz, like all of the guests of the Rubber Boots podcast, receives a $10 off gift certificate at Young Chow's Chinese Food in Blackburn Hamlet. Young Chow's. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's the first place I drank underage.
This is JD's podcast. JD's Rubber Boot Podcast. He's gonna sit and relax and tell you all sorts of stories. He's gonna tell you all about life and sports, and probably will play some games. And if nothing else, you know we're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast.
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?